Bye.
Bye, Judy. We'll wait for an update from you for next week on the hearings. And I've just hit the streaming button, so we're live. Even though we're having network difficulties, we're going to continue to move forward. I'm Scott Stimson with Internet Computer Solutions. Thank you for joining. Stuff happening behind me because it's my mother-in-law's birthday. Everybody's celebrating. People have brought some topics with you. I have shared the link to the document of possible topics in the chat room so you guys can get access to that. And I've added a topic that Cheryl sent me this morning about COVID in Sonora. Have you guys been looking at those numbers? If you open up the document, it'll take you to the Facebook page where it's listed in the expats dealing with COVID group, and and 720 new that we've got. They break it down by city. Guaymas has 25 cases. And it also says that in total we've had, down here somewhere, 10,183 deaths of COVID in Sonora, as well as 174,000 cases of coronavirus. So that is crazy. In the United States. Here at the bed and breakfast, I've already had to field a number of cancellations. Holland America cruise has been canceled. Talked to some customers that told me their entire trip had been canceled. So this is the state of our world at the moment. CDC and the Sonoran Secretary of Health are recommending that we don't change our practices. They're saying go back to wearing masks in enclosed areas or places of poor ventilation, and continue to maintain sano distancia, a safe distance that's 6 feet apart from each other. Washing hands and disinfecting those areas around you. So wonderful. Everything that's old is new again. Has anybody brought any of their own topics today? That was a Cheryl topic. I don't know if you want to say any more on it. I've
recently read a couple of good books.
Yeah, you want to make some recommendations right now, Chester? Or you want to save them for the end?
No, I'll do it now.
Yeah, go right ahead. In our typical fashion.
I'm a history buff, history. And the one that I was shocked at was called Stalin, the Court of the Red Tsar. It was from his earliest political life to his death. And it is shocking what all he did during his life and the millions of people he had executed. The other book, there's a historical book I found very interesting. It was called Dead Lake. And it's the story of the Lusitania and all the passengers and the people involved, both in Britain and in the US government, concerning the sinking of the Lusitania.
Oh, wow.
That was very interesting.
How did you read these, Chester? Are you on a Kindle, or did you read these as actual paperback books?
No, I basically read a Kindle.
Okay.
And I find that very, I have this big screen in front of me, so it's easy to read. I set it up so it shows 2 pages at a time.
Nice.
The other one I find also shocking, which is the laptop from hell.
That's a book?
Yep.
That is a great title.
Yeah,
Well, I
it's
think you
100
Hey, Jim, I didn't even see you pop in there. Yeah, you recommended this the other day. This is the Hunter Biden laptop, right?
Yeah, right. So those are my latest.
All right.
Chester, it sounds like you like to be shocked.
Yeah, right.
Hey,
Pique your
Chester,
interest in.
are any of these books available with your Prime subscription, or did you have to buy them outright, or are you on?
No, I buy them outright.
Okay.
I have a Prime subscription, but they're not included. They're generally about $10, $11.
That's great. I've been getting most of my books from my public library, as well as my Prime subscription, because they have thousands of books available to read. Remember, what is the name of it? Is it OneDrive? Wait, no, it's not OneDrive. What is the name of the thing that lets me do my books from my library?
Oh,
Hula?
I know.
Or something drive.
Yeah, it's something Drive, isn't it? Gosh, I feel like I need to run for my Kindle and find it because give me a second. Give me a second.
Your Kindle library has all the books that you've read.
Sorry, I had to do that, or if it was going to drive me crazy because it's just on the tip of my tongue. Overdrive, I think's the name of it.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's amazing how well this system works now because I can just go to my library, check out books, and send them over to my Kindle. I've been recently checking.
High gear.
Say that again, Paul?
Overdrive is just a higher gear.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. What I've done recently is I've been checking out audiobooks and using them to go to sleep. I'll just put them on in the background and listen to them until I fall asleep. So I don't want very interesting books. They need to be able to put me to sleep. Any new technology? I wrote on my list, I've got new technology I'm ready to talk about. If you guys are interested, I got for late buddies, Justin and Sid, and my parents, they came together and bought me an iPhone. Let me see if I can. I have
Now you can feel our pain.
That's right. I was gonna say I finally got some. So very to mimic my Android experience. So I'm able to put widgets in. Wait, what is this? Don't load anything. There we go. It's an iPhone 11 Pro running iOS 15. And I don't know if you guys have spent any time looking into the widgets, but this is like it was never possible before they released this whole widget system. And you can see, let me change cameras here. I have been trying to mock up my new iPhone to look very similar to my Android phone, which is something you could never do before this latest iOS. Here's another example of screens. That's got my media players on it and folders of icons. Now, what's funny is that, or at least what I find funny, is that there's a lot of iPhones, even though these have become so dynamic and they allow you to have a variety of different widgets on the screen, these icons, see if I can get my finger over to the right spot, these icons are still justified to the left. So even though I can move them around, I can put a series of icon corner, and I can put a clock widget next to it, and I can put a weather widget underneath it. These icons all want to move over to the left side of the screen. One icon and move it by itself on the area of the screen, which is most definitely left over from Apple thinking. It reminds me very similar to desktop in Windows, where forever, by default, icons all stack over to the left. On the Android platform, of course, you can, here's another example of an Android. I've intentionally put some apps right in the middle of the screen because you can. Doing the same thing. The other thing that I thought was really cool is if you flip over, well, let me tell it like a story. And I could see that I could things icon, which was very odd to me that I could do that because you never were able to delete the settings.
Yeah.
And so, and it turns out that in iOS 15, and it may have been since 13, but in 15 definitely, if you swipe all the way over as far as you can go, you get an inventory list, kind of like a start menu launch pad on a Macintosh computer. Absolutely everything that makes up this phone has been gathered and organized by Apple on this last screen called the app library. And so there I found settings, and I was able to grab the icon from app library, hold it, and drag it out into the start screen so that I could return an icon to the start screen. I think you'll see it right here. So what that means is these starts are very flexible. You can pull all the icons off. You could have a completely blank screen because if you go all the way to the right, there's a screen that is an app inventory. So I thought that was pretty cool. Also, if you look at this,
That is.
if you look at this app library, my apps have been organized into kind of like folders. I didn't do any of that. Apple just did that.
No.
As I installed their own... Oh, go ahead, Cheryl. I'm sorry.
Not only did Apple do that, but the next time you go to it, it'll look a little bit different. Because as you use the apps, they reorganize them, and like the last 4 things I've opened are all in the top box on the library. So it changes every time I'm looking for an app. I can go to that, swipe over to the right to the app library, and up at the top there's a search.
Jim, you're popular
There's a
this
search
morning.
there. So Jimmy's always popular. But
Whoops. Yeah.
He's popular with us.
Here, I'll turn this.
Go ahead,
the
Cheryl.
app library has search. The app library has a search item at the top that Actually, on my iPad has the same kind of thing. But when I'm on a different page, all I have to do is swipe down from the top and the search button opens and I type in face and I get FaceTime and anything, you know, if I type in photo, I get all my different photo apps come up. It's much easier to find my apps now because I've got way too many that fit on any kind of screen. And yeah, I'm liking the new.
Yeah, no, I'm loving this interface that I never had access to before. In fact, I used old phones and iPads, and what I've got in my hand now is an old iPod, and it's very minimalist because I only use it for certain things, like an audio recorder. Camera to lighten up a bit. Oh gosh, I don't even know if you see this. Wow, isn't that interesting that you can see the.
We were.
Sorry, Cheryl, go ahead.
It's just bright.
Let me turn down the brightness while you're talking.
Yeah, the other thing is on my 6S, turn down brightness, swipe up from the bottom, down from the corner.
Mine is swipe up from accumulate the screen. You'll have more screen that you can swipe to. What was it you were asking, Cheryl? How do you bring up your settings?
No, what do you call it? I guess it's
the control panel.
Mode, your
So you
control
bring
panel.
Yeah,
there you go. I swipe up
on your iPad.
No, on my 6S phone, Bill swipes down from the upper right corner to open his control panel.
Because his is a 7 or bigger or newer. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah, and it's because that 6 is not getting these latest updates.
Well, the home does.
This 11, I actually picked it. You know, I'm going to give you the advice I give everybody. Don't buy tech for tech people. You never know what they want. They've always got some other idea. And my friend Justin is the one that put this surprise together for me. And he started by, what is it you need, Scott? And so he quite literally let me go out on the internet and pick out what I thought was reasonable to be a gift for myself. And I think that's the only way you should buy technology for a tech person, because you inevitably will buy the wrong thing. And I went out, the way I made my purchase decision for the iPhone 11 Pro, I started with capacity. My original phone has a chip for 256 gigabytes. And it's full of pictures, videos, and music. And I couldn't imagine owning a device that didn't have that kind of capacity. So I went to an Amazon search. I saw phones with 256 gigabytes of capacity. And then I narrowed it from there based on price and feature. I wanted a really decent camera, and I wanted a price. I didn't want to commit anybody into putting a lot of money into a gift for me. And so I looked at the pricing. And I needed to get up into the latest iOSs. I wanted it to be compatible for a few more years. And I think right now, everything that's an 8 or higher is compatible. And so I wanted to get 2 or 3 years of compatibility as they make new iPhones and new operating systems. I wanted to make sure that whatever I got would still be good next year and the year after and the year after. And so 3 years was about my...
You about that.
Say again, Paul?
They're laughing at you for thinking that.
Yeah, right.
Apple is.
Yeah, right. Where they're like, if you want to keep it compatible for a few years, just buy the new one. But I'm not into paying more for a phone than I did for the first car I bought. So I decided that I needed to pick a price that if people didn't want to contribute enough to it, that I would pick up the rest of the cost. And so I found a price that if people contributed to half of it, I would be able to contribute the other half. And so the iPhone 11 is a really decent phone. It's actually the one that set the models for the future. You know, 10 was the transitionary model, and so this is 10 was the revolutionary model, and then 11 was the evolutionary model. That's where everything, the 12, the 13, and now the 14th have all grown out of the 11. And it's got the cameras that I wanted on it. It's got the wireless charging that, who knows, maybe at some point I'll take advantage of that. It's got the face unlock, which it didn't matter to me one way or the other, but I'm actually really enjoying. And the price was just around 500 and change. And I figured, because my Android phone that I've been using successfully for all these years, it's a 6-year-old phone. I figure I would budget about $250 for a new device. And if people would match that, then I would be able to get into this phone. And people went ahead and paid for the whole thing for me. That was my birthday present. That price was a renewed phone price. Just to add a cherry on top of that, that is not a Apple box iPhone. Like it's never been used on the shelf, still here, ready to sell. That price is a little bit more expensive. I got this from Amazon as a renewed phone, and it actually guaranteed that the battery would be healthy up to above 80%, which wasn't a big concern for me because I knew that if the battery became a problem in the next year or two, I could just change the battery. But when I received the phone, it shows a health level at 97%. And I thought that was pretty awesome. Carol,
Two things.
Go ahead.
Two questions. Well, first of all, Bill is now a certified battery replacer because he did mine. So, you have another source there.
We know Bill's certified for something.
By what we
No. Bill is certifiable.
Certifiable, that's right. He's proven to be certifiable.
Because of his degree from Google University.
That's right.
The Y Pro, what's the difference between a Pro and an 11?
Okay, so there is an 11 Pro Max. And the Pro is the third camera. So if you look at you've got 3 lenses at the front. And so that's the biggest difference I can see. Is that it's got the wide camera, the selfie camera, or the wide camera, the ultra wide camera, and the, well, what do you call it? I guess the standard camera. So that ultra wide, you can sit very close to the camera. Like you can have a group of people.
Scott, can you hear us?
I can hear you now.
Okay.
Something happened, but I'm back. I think we're having internet issues on my end. But yeah, that's the difference. Is the 11 has 2 cameras on the front and the selfie camera, and the Pro has the 3 cameras that ultra wide. No, I got something ultra wide.
I have something to say about that, Scott.
Sure, Paul. Go ahead.
I saw and this guy was taking apart a Motorola cell phone.
Okay.
cover off. And there was a device with 4 lenses on it. And he took the tweezers and he picked that up, and 3 of them were dummy lenses, and there was only 1 functional camera.
Oh, you're
Right.
kidding.
That was a Motorola.
I've seen that
Be
before. That's not the case with the iPhone lines, but you're right. There are phones that have been produced like that.
My other tech news is that Amazon is having Amazon Days sometime this week.
Oh, I think it
With,
starts today,
discount price.
actually.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's today.
Prime Day starts
Okay.
today.
That's my news. That's my contribution for today.
In fact, Paul,
I have deliveries coming tomorrow afternoon. I've already ordered a bunch of things, and I keep forgetting because after I was already on Amazon and doing all my orders, my Air Miles card sent me a thing saying, don't forget to go to Air Miles shops first before you go to Amazon, and then you get 5 times the Air Miles. So I always forget that step, especially when it's Prime Day. But there you go.
Air Miles
Whoa.
shot. So what is this? Say that again, Cheryl. How do you do that?
Well, we have, in Canada, we have what's called Air Miles. And Air Miles on your grocery, a bunch of different things. Some people have Aeroplan points or Air Canada points, and they have their own shopping online. So what I do is I log into, and then it says you want to go shopping, you can get 5 times certain items on certain sites on certain days. And right now, Air Miles is giving me 5 times the Air Miles for every dollar that I spend. Well, it's every $20 gets me 1 Air Mile. And today I would get 5 times that. So I'd get 5 Air Miles for every dollar. So
But
every
this-
$20. So
You have a credit card
Yeah,
that supports these? Is that how that works?
well, 2, I do have an Air Miles American Express card, but you can belong to Air Miles without having their credit card.
Okay.
Surprised they don't give you S&H green stamps.
Yeah,
What's
it
that?
does.
I said, I'm surprised they don't give you S&H green stamps.
There you go, S&H.
Blue chip.
Okay, Prime Day
Okay,
is July
that
12th
dates
and
us
July
off.
13th. I'm looking at it on my screen now. And I just wanted to say, the reason I was aware of it, because I wasn't paying any attention, is that my buddy Justin told me that he had ordered a Fire Stick. And I'm like, great equipment. I'm like, wait a second. Did you get the Fire Stick or the 4K stick? He's like, oh, I got the Fire Stick. I'm like, no, cancel that. Get the 4K stick. And I'll remind you guys, if you're gonna get a Fire Stick, you want the 4K. You do not want just the Fire Stick. You can save $10.
But I understood
Go ahead.
the Fire Stick. I think it's a 4K is on sale on Amazon Prime for $30 off for Canadian pricing. It's usually $79 and it's $49 today.
So
I think it's the 4K one.
in the U.S. store, I'm looking at the deal right now, and it's typically $49.99, and today it is $24.99. And that is the equipment you want. There's a dramatic in usability, and you might never use it for the 4K. Like you might never watch 4K videos on it, but the processor is beefed up, and the user experience is much nicer. You get that kind of cable box feeling where you're hitting the button and you're getting instant satisfaction. It's just click, 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 click. And that original Fire Stick, which is also on sale, I think it's $19.99, something like that. That's one of those click and wait kind of devices. It totally does what you need it to do, but you need to be patient with it. And I'd rather pay $10 and not have to be patient with my device.
Well, we're gonna have 9.
But that's in fake money, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I have a couple
Background?
comments.
Okay, go ahead, Bill. What are your
Are you
comments?
there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Uh, the when you're talking
Google Meet or FaceTime.
Google, yeah, FaceTime, the camera follows you as you move around. You know, it's really, we don't see it as on our end as much, but if one person comes in, it goes over and centers on both of you. If one person leaves, it comes back and centers on me. It's really weird.
Let me describe what it looks like. It's almost as if Bill and Cheryl have a cameraman back behind, in front of them, moving the camera to whomever is speaking or whoever needs to be zoomed in on, and then bring it back. It's really pretty wild.
I'm
Okay,
Googling
second
right
point.
now. If I remember
I'm
right,
gonna go
that
back.
is called Center Stage. Apple Center Stage. And
Yeah,
it's
I bet.
because you have these cameras of such high definition that it takes in that whole, all those pixels, and then it centers in on the subject. And so if you can imagine kind of a letterbox, it's going around its view, capturing you as you're moving back and forth. So it has put blinders on the view, expanded it so it looks like the entire view, and then it's got all this extra room to work with so that it can follow you around without the camera moving. It's very cool technology.
It's trippy.
Okay. Second point. You're talking about letting the tech person buy their present. Well, Cheryl and I have this system where when we're shopping for Christmas or whatever, we buy our own presents, and then we just act surprised when we open it up. It works very well. You get what you want for a present.
You guys are awesome.
So
My
she'll come
parents
home in the
have
middle of
done
summer
that
and she said,
since
"Oh,
I was a kid. They have always bought their own presents
Yeah.
and wrapped them from each other.
Yep. And then it's the she'll come home, or well, I'll come home and say, "Oh, I bought you one of your Christmas presents today." So, or I bought one of my Christmas presents from you today. I ordered it on Amazon. Whatever.
You just got me my Christmas present. It's wonderful. I bet you can't
Yeah.
wait to give it to me.
I think that's a great idea. That's a great idea.
Yeah, my
I love
folks
it.
have
I've
done
heard of
that
it.
for
I love it.
years. Yuya and I aren't at that place yet, but every time I have to buy presents, it's like, oh my gosh, now this year, what? We're pretty happy and we've got most of the things we need. So it's like, what do I get her?
Hey, you bought my present today, but you spent way too much. Thank
That's
you.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. You
Exactly.
you didn't have to be so generous.
That's called buyer's remorse.
I'm sure you're
You have
gonna
it for
like.
yourself.
I'm sure you're gonna like the looks of the ukulele you bought me.
Yeah.
Hey, Paul, speaking of which, when we got down here, when we got up here, Emily, my child, she was jonesing for a ukulele, so we bought a ukulele kit on Amazon. It was actually,
Oh, good.
yeah, it was pretty impressive. In fact, let me grab it because it's beautiful. I think it's Hawaiian.
Well, maybe I'll have a student. Maybe I'll have a student when I go back to San Carlos.
Could
Came
be.
in this nifty bag.
Uh-huh.
We bought one in
The bag's
Mexico,
nice.
and the bag that came with it was not a nifty bag. It was a bag that shredded within like 6 months of carrying case. Look at that.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty.
Wow.
No, nice.
You give her something
Does it
to.
have a brand name? Does it have?
I wonder if this is the name
Headstock.
brand. Does that look familiar to you?
It's sort of, yeah. I can only see part of it.
I know. I can't get it in the camera. I keep forgetting the camera's mirror. There, no, it's gotta go up.
No,
There it is.
I don't recognize that, but I have a couple ukuleles from Costco that are good. I'm sure that's good too.
But yeah, I think it's Hawaiian. I
That
think
would
it's
be
a Hawaiian brand name. It also came with
Well, I don't put the
picks.
SE. It could be Danish.
Say again, Cheryl?
Paisen.
Paisen
Sen is usually Danish.
Oh, really? A Danish ukulele? Well, I think it was advertised as a Hawaiian ukulele. But maybe that's in style in itself. It also came with, the whole kit was really nice because it came with extra strings. It came with a tuner, a handful of picks, and a strap, as well as the bag you've already seen. And I thought it was a really good deal.
Yeah,
I think
good.
we paid less than $60 for everything.
Wow.
Well, there's
Our first Amazon purchase just arrived.
Happy Prime Day,
The,
Cheryl.
This was early Prime Day. I ordered it yesterday.
at the low end of the price range. The things that are critical is it's still in tune as you play up the fretboard, and does it hold the tune? Does it hold the tuning in between playing it?
Are you saying that it might be
Those
a
are the
bad
two things that are kinda
sign that
critical
they
about it.
include a digital tuner with it because you're going to use it?
No, no, that's always
I like to pluck along on a guitar. And that.
if you
I
take a
can't.
guitar and put highest 4 strings.
Oh, and I wanted to say it came
I'll
with a
talk to you
capo as well.
in November about it.
All right.
$60.
$100 for it.
Just like her.
Yuya's dancing is her musical skill.
That's right.
Well, that's true. That's true. And by the way, it has an enormous impact on the brain development of children. Learning
And
music
singing.
Well,
and
guys.
singing, right?
Oh, look at that. Our call is going to end in 10 minutes. That just popped up. Get this stuff out of here.
My
So
dad
I'm
is going to call me in a few minutes, so I'm going to have to sign out pretty quick here.
So, Paul, I'm not at Tequila today, but I'm doing my tribute to 4th of July for you guys. I have a white house, a red umbrella, and the bluest sky we've had in about 2 weeks.
Ah,
So,
Excellent. Excellent.
What are cat?
so before we move on to the next meeting, I he was beat up
I
a little
understand
bit.
that.
yeah, it's behind the hotel
Yep.
where they've got the Maria Felice mural.
Yeah,
The next road up from that.
they apparently cleaned the house out.
Yeah. They entered from the roof, so nobody on the street, none of the neighbors knew anything was wrong. And when the person came home, entered his home, it was empty.
Wow.
Wow.
Things are getting nuts in San Carlos and Guaymas.
They are.
A lot of killings that are just so unfortunate.
Yeah, whenever I see
Yeah,
the
does
mayor
anybody
making a
know
present.
anything?
Go ahead, Jim. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. You were about to say the same thing.
Oh, maybe I was. I was just going to make the commentary that anytime I see the mayor making a public statement, she seems to be at her wit's end.
Yes.
I heard that through the grapevine, I heard that the federal government is supposed to be getting involved, specifically for Guaymas.
And then the Marines.
Well, they got the Marines everywhere now. Yuya told me before she left, they had the National Guard was driving down our road once an hour.
Wow.
I don't know, guys. It's the first time I've ever considered
not-
maybe picking up and leaving.
I understand that hearing he got into his car and they started chasing him and killed him. And that was one of the,
Oh, I heard about and saw the news report of him being arrested, but I hadn't heard the story of him appearing, the two of them appearing.
I've probably told you guys before this story about the. I mean, I think we're kind of at that point right now, unless law enforcement does something. I bet we'll see more of that kind of stuff. And it's not related to San Carlos or Guaymas or Mexico. But did you see that? I think it was one of the Middle Eastern countries.
Well, I heard that in the Middle East, instead of a roadside sobriety test, they give you a roadside beating if you're drunk.
I'm on my MacBook Air. I can't seem to sign in. Now I'm using the same code, RGB.
It's the only thing I can think of. It should be RG, and that meeting should be.
I'm checking out of the meeting.
Paul, we'll see you next
Talk
week.
to you next week. I'll check.
Carol, you win. You're the first one here.
Yeah, it said, wait till someone lets you in.